So the advice I say if you're going to be a nurse is, for one, don't let anybody persuade you into being a nurse. If you want to be a nurse, you do it because you want to do it. Like, it's your calling in life, because it is a tough job and it can be super stressful. So you want to make sure that you are ready to be a nurse and that you want to do that. The other things is, of course, like how you were saying, things take time. So you have to take expectations off of everybody else. Like, I don't expect you to help my career be better.
Good morning, everybody. Today we're here with my beautiful cousin Tanya, and we're going to be talking about a little bit about her to get you to know her. I can't even talk today. And what she does here. I guess where would you describe like where we're at?
We're at Live Well.
And
it's in Santa Fe, OBGYN.
Cool. I'm at an OBGYN office. I promise. Wouldn't be any reason I would be here other than to interview Tanya or for the IV treatment, which is what we're going to talk about today, and a little bit about what she does as a nurse as well. So we'll go ahead and get started. So I'll go ahead and let Tanya introduce herself. So go right ahead and introduce yourself and tell people a little bit more about you.
Well, I am a nurse, obviously. That's what I'm doing here. I'm actually an OB nurse, or labor and delivery nurse. So I work at a hospital inpatient. I'm a night shift nurse, but then I also do this part-time.
Sick.
So
good. Yeah. And so I've known Tanya obviously forever.
Your whole life.
Yes, my whole life. I haven't been a part of her whole life. We're not going to say how long that was. But yeah, Tanya's one of my favorite cousins, and I'm always admired what she does, and I love the service she provides, and that's why I kind of wanted to get her on the channel. And I need to actually get one of these recently, so we'll talk about scheduling something. So how did you get to this point? Like, how did you get to becoming a nurse and doing the
IV infusions?
Yeah, infusions is what I always call them IV treatments. But
sorry,
yeah.
that works as well.
Yeah.
So. Well, becoming a nurse, I worked actually in the dental field for 15 years before I became a nurse.
That's right.
I worked in orthodontist.
Pause real quick. She used to do my braces, yeah, which, by the way, I need to go back there and get new sets of retainers.
They still look beautiful.
They look all right. They were way better when, I did a bad job taking care of them. That's on me. No one to blame. So anyway, but yes, she used to take care of my teeth.
Yes, I did. So yes, I was there for 15 years, but then I was a single mom at that time. And I had always thought about being a labor and delivery nurse. And this stems back from when I was like a junior in high school, when we did this like health careers thing in high school and went to the University Hospital in Arizona. And I saw a couple births and I loved it. But the funny thing is I also like dental too. That's why I went into dental first. But when Ava, my daughter, was about 7 years old, I was just like, you know what, if I don't ever do this, I'm going to regret not being a nurse. So I went to school. And yeah, I became a nurse. I worked med-surg for like a year, and then I went into obstetrics or labor and delivery. So I've been working bedside as labor and delivery nurse since 2016. So
she's been killing it.
Yeah. And then for IV stuff, when you work inpatient, you look at a lot of people that are there because they're sick. Not necessarily in labor and delivery, but like in med-surg, a lot of people are sick. But IV infusions can really help with like health and wellness. So everybody's big into health and wellness these days, working out, losing weight, all those kind of things.
I've never been to the gym.
Never. Mario never has. And, this can also help with that kind of stuff. So people who are fatigued because they work long, stressful hours, or, just even trying to lose weight, or immunity stuff, because if you're starting to feel like you're a little bit sick, especially when the whole COVID stuff happened, people want to build their immunity. So you can get immunity infusions that help with your immunity. So IV infusions or IV treatments are pretty much kind of more for wellness. Instead of treating illness, it's for wellness.
That's interesting, because I think a lot of people assume preventive care is important, and I think it gets overlooked a lot. So that's great. So okay, that makes sense on the name, and I totally understand it now. Who would you say along this journey has been, your biggest influence and the reason why you're pushing so hard? And you're starting like a new little thing too, so you could talk about that if you want to.
I am. Well, influences though, I can't say that there has been anybody that's like a celebrity or an author or anybody in particular. It's people like you, like you and other people that are my friends and family that are very successful in things that they do, or are always looking to better themselves and do things that motivates me to do things better as well. So cool. That's kind of my influence.
Like if you're doing things for the right reason, that's the goal, right? I've never once ever done anything to be like, oh, I hope someone else does it. I just want to show people like, if I can do it, so can you. And in doing so, like, I hope that like, and that makes me happy to know that. So that's good. And tell us a little bit about the current project if you want to talk about it. You don't have to talk about it if you don't want to.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. No, working as a nurse, especially bedside, is very stressful. It's really hard on your body. And George, my husband, has really been wanting to do a lot of like, digital marketing and things like that. And so we're really looking into the avenue of doing passive income with, focusing on nurses and linemen, and because he's an electrical lineman. And so really working on that kind of focus.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Digital marketing that's what I got my degree in. That's what I used to do. It's a good career, and it's definitely a great passive income job. And so I wish you all the best.
Thanks.
I can't wait to see what happens with that, because I'm going to be like, oh, that's cool.
Yes.
Because that's what I always do.
And like with anything, you can't expect things to happen like immediately. You have to put the work into it, and you have to like take the time to do it.
Show up at 8 a.m. to do an interview on my day off. What are some of the challenges you've faced along the way? Like, I know, I think a lot of people assume like everything's real linear, but I know there were definitely some hiccups for sure.
Yeah, of course, school was always just hard. Yeah. And being a single mom at the time I was in school was difficult. The funny thing is, the reason I went to school was because, it's going to be me and my daughter for my life. I'm going to be single my whole life. And of course, the year that I started to go to school is when I met my current husband.
That's what they always say, right? When you're not looking is when you
Because you totally find it. And I was like, okay, so challenges with that was like, juggling a new relationship and then also getting married during that time, and just having a blended family was a challenge as well. Moving out of Santa Fe to where I, had to commute and things like that. And that's
cool. I love that. I think like that's a great representation of like actuality, right? Because it's not easy. There's a lot of challenges that come and go, and I think people, they only see the good side of things. They don't actually see the grind and the struggle. So I think it's important to remind people like, hey, if you're feeling like you're not where you want to be, like, don't worry. Like, things happen when they're supposed to, as long as you're doing the right things.
Yes.
What advice would you give someone who's, maybe looking to get in as a nurse or start in, in the IB wellness life, or even just life in general, I guess?
Yeah. Well, if you're going to be a nurse, so the advice I say if you're going to be a nurse is, for one, don't let anybody persuade you into being a nurse. If you want to be a nurse, you do it because you want to do it. Like, it's your calling in life, because it is a tough job and it can be super stressful. So you want to make sure that you are ready to be a nurse and that you want to do that. So if you're going to be a nurse, do that. The other things is, of course, like how you were saying, things take time. So you have to take expectations off of everybody else. Like, I don't expect you to help my career be better. I have to rely on myself to make sure, so I'm the one who has to be motivated and do the work to get where I need to be.
Yeah, no, perfect. The 2 more questions I have for you, and then we'll get into the 10 questions. Are there any tools or resources you'd recommend to anyone that like helped you along the way? If not, it's okay. I know that's an interesting question. I just always am curious. I know sometimes people are like, oh my gosh, I read this one book or whatever, but if there's anything that you could think of.
Not really. I guess the only thing I would suggest is always seeing the new things that are out there.
Yeah.
Obviously, like with IV infusions, it was never a thing.
Yeah.
So people never thought about that. If they were sick or needed an IV, they had to go to the emergency room, or
that's a good point.
It wasn't something that people were like, oh, let me just get hydrated and get an IV infusion. And so that's a new thing that came out, right? And same thing, the whole thing with digital marketing. Obviously, this wasn't around 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And so just kind of flowing with the way that things change in the world.
It's always evolving too. Like I feel like there's so many things that I started doing and I gave up on, and I watched how they evolved. And I'm like, man, if I had just stayed on top of that.
Yeah.
But that's good. That's good that you're like always looking for the next thing, because I think people are never really like, what do they like to call that when they jump in? They're always a little bit late to things, and then they wonder like, well, how did this one person get so good at doing that one thing, or like how come they're the person that everyone's talking about? And it's like they were an early entry, right? Like they were the first people to start doing that stuff.
Yes.
So I guess I lied. I have 2 more questions. How do you manage to balance your work and life? I know it was probably hard. earlier in your career, but I mean, it still isn't easy, right? Like, there's always these challenges. I mean, how do you do it? I don't have kids, so I'm always curious.
Oh, it's hard. Well, I mean, the one thing is I'm an empty nester. I
Yeah,
don't have
that's
kids
true.
at home anymore,
Right.
so it makes it a little bit better now. But still, I have a husband I like to hang out with. So,
Not many people can say that.
And so it's one of those things that in the short term, I have to look at my schedule ahead.
Yeah.
Like, hey, like next week, these are the days I have off. And so let's do something on these days. And that's how I balance it, like on a short term. But long term, I work hard to play hard
Yeah.
because I'll take 2-week vacations and I'm not worried about that. So
Cruise life.
yes.
Last question, like work related or life related. What mark do you hope to leave, like when it's all said and done, like through, I guess, like your new ventures or the things that you've done, or even just in people in general?
Really not it's professional at all, I don't think. It's more like I just want to be known as like a kind person who, changed somebody, even the way they thought about something in life. Like if like I love you as well. So like,
Yeah.
it's one of those things where I'm like, you say the same thing about me, but if I would hope that you just look at my life when I
Yeah.
leave behind. But I loved Tanya.
Yeah.
And she did all these really cool things as well, but you just like me as the
Yeah,
person that I was.
I would say you're succeeding in that. Like, that's what I always think of. I'm always like, my cousin Tanya's like the nicest person. Like, she's so sweet. And like, so if that's the goal, I feel like you're on track and you're doing a great job of it. Okay, cool. Enough of all that jazz. Let's get into what everyone's really wanting. This is the 10 questions, if I can find them. Okay, we're just going to run them off.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Hardball them, and you can think, you don't have to think.
Okay.
Some of them are the same as you've already seen, but I threw in a couple new ones. So, ready? Hard shell or soft shell tacos?
Definitely soft shell.
Soft shell? All right, all right. If you could have any superpower, what would it be and why?
Maybe invisibility.
Invisibility? How
Yeah.
come?
I don't know. It'd be just kind of interesting. I'm a people watcher.
Ah.
So it's one of those things where
that makes more
I'm
sense.
perfectly happy going to even like amusement parks and just like watching people. So, you don't want to be a creeper. So if you were like invisible, you could be a people watcher and nobody would see you.
Hey, a people watcher, like, invisibility is actually a great superpower. I don't know if it would be something that I've like thought about enough to like put it on my list, because I usually just kind of skim over it. Like,
So then what's yours?
I was already invisible in high school, so just kidding. Mine? Oh shoot, I probably would say, dang. I think.
See, you're asking everybody these questions.
Yeah, no, I never really think about the answers to these questions. I think reading minds would be pretty cool, or being being able to fly. I think that would be like pretty useful skill. Like, oh hey, my dad already thinks I can do that because he's just like, go do this, go do that. So. To be able to do it for real would be cool.
I think the flying part would just scare me though, because for some, like when you look at people like falling.
Yes.
I hate the feeling of falling. So to me, flying is part of that, and so I don't know
Yeah.
if I could handle that power.
I act like that, but then there's sometimes I enjoy it. I guess it depends, like on.
Yeah, I guess so. I agree.
What was the last gift you gave someone?
Well, I haven't officially given it to him yet.
Ah, it's okay.
So it's my husband's birthday, just like on Tuesday. He's been okay. I hope you don't do this before his birthday.
Okay, we'll put it out after. I'll make sure to put it out after.
But he has been wanting this Lego set, and he swears I don't buy him Legos, and he wants to do all these Lego things. And me, I don't like knickknacks, so it's one of those.
That's fair.
So I
Yeah,
bought him
I see
that.
what you're saying. Yeah, that's cool. You know what's funny? So for people that don't know, George is like a really big kid, so this makes total sense.
He's a big kid.
He's like, you never buy me Legos.
Yes.
Current Starbucks order.
Oh, it's a brown sugar oat milkshake and espresso.
Oh, and I've had that, and it's very good.
It's a little sweet, so
little
sometimes I like it a
yeah.
little less sweet.
So I usually will add an extra shot to unsweeten them, which I know people are probably gonna be like, that's wild. But that's what I do. Like, if it's something too sweet, I'll just be like, add an extra shot. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go to Gatorade color.
Purple.
Ooh, okay. All right. I like that. Liquor or beer?
Probably beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. How would you rate your karaoke skills 1 through 10?
Oh, 0, because I do not like going up there and singing in front of people, so I refuse to do it.
I don't know why everyone's so afraid of karaoke. Like, I love karaoke. Okay, if we had alcohol in you, karaoke skills.
Oh gosh.
At
Maybe
least
a 5.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, that's
Maybe a 5.
Favorite place to eat?
There's so many different ones. So if we had to stick to Santa Fe.
Sure, let's do Santa Fe. Yeah.
Okay. For breakfast, I really like to go to Tia Sophia's.
Ooh, yeah,
It's
they
really
are good.
I like the breakfast there. It's really good. Lunch is one of those ones that's kind of thrown all over the place. Clafoutis is really good lately.
Never
I
been
like
there.
that
So
one.
that's a
It's good.
spot.
And for dinner, lately I've been really liking Paper Dosa. It's an Indian food restaurant, and it's so good.
I need to try it. What do you get there? What do you usually get there?
They usually have like a sampling menu.
Oh.
So they have like really big, they're called paper dosas.
Mm-hmm.
And so those are kind of sometimes stuffed with things, and those are good. And their curry is their yellow curry. I love it.
So now I'm hungry. Okay, so I gotta stop asking these questions in the morning. Ideal day off activity.
I don't really have it. Ideal, I just love to hang out and do stuff. I'm pretty lazy on my days off.
I'm just a normal person. Yeah.
I like to hang out. Some days off, it's nice to just be like, hey, let's just hang out at home with the dog.
Yeah, totally fair. Totally fair. Last question. Favorite holiday and why?
I don't know if I have one. Interesting enough.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, everybody likes Christmas.
Yeah.
But sometimes I feel like Christmas can sometimes be sad.
Yeah.
Especially now, because I don't know if you know this about me, but I am an Air Force mom times two.
Yes.
So when your kids aren't home, it's kind of sad sometimes.
Yeah.
And so I guess maybe New Year's. New Year's is one of those things where it's something.
Yeah,
it's
kind of like a
like,
restart.
what's this year gonna be? What's this year gonna be like? So maybe New Year's.
I feel like Christmas. So I have known people that did not like Christmas. Like they just felt like it stressed them out. Which holiday depression is a real thing, by the way. So I totally understand like not everybody liking Christmas, but for me like that's always been one of, I guess to your point, like the family aspect of it. So I could understand how like it would go from like a favorite to like now you're like, dang, it's not really a favorite anymore.
Yeah, because my kids aren't here, so that's what's hard.
Shoot.
But no, I mean it's okay.
Yeah.
I still get to talk to them. You get time off, and that part's always fun.
I do rock with the New Year's thing though. I've had like some great New Year's. Like I don't know if I've had a bad one, but I think it's because I'm always just like I just go with the flow on New Year's. Like I don't ever really like have certain expectations where I feel like sometimes people put a lot of pressure on that night to be like, I'm starting it off right. And I'm just like, hey man, we're going with the flow. Like so.
That's how I am too. I always go with the flow on that one as well.
Anytime I've not gone with the flow, my life tends to not go well. So just going with the flow has worked really well for me and chasing after things I want. And that's usually when things seem to move the best. So.
Well, I mean, that's because we're very similar in our personalities. Yeah. Because, we're both Cancers.
Oh, yeah. Cancer season. We just had our thing. No, I think it's so funny. So, like, I've never been, like, a huge astrology person. But, like, when you really look at it, I mean, it's kind of weird how sometimes they all line up. And I'm just like, oh, I kind of do those things.
Yeah.
And
it's interesting, huh?
Yes, it very much so is. Like, I don't know. I feel like I'm very brash and, like, loud and, like, in your face for our sign. But I do get my feelings hurt sometimes, so can't lie about that one.
And you like food.
I do. I love
Cancers
food.
are very like food oriented.
You cannot tell. I love food. Well, cool. Thank you, Tanya, for doing this. Like, I like to tell all my guests, like, I really appreciate it. Like, it means the world to me that you guys do this because, again, without you, I have no content and there's no what's good New Mexico style. I forgot to introduce New Mexico style. But yeah, it really does mean a lot to me, and I enjoy each and every one and getting to know you, and hopefully this does for me what it does for you, and it gives you some fun for the day, and it helps push you forward. I know Lauren's been getting people asking her because of it, so like
awesome.
Yeah, and I hopefully my buddy Brandon, and
that'd be awesome
for you next too. So, and where can people find you, and how can people get a hold of you if they want to do this? By the way,
so we're at Live Well Santa Fe, which, like I said before, is Santa Fe OBGYN. Honestly, if you just Google that, Santa Fe OBGYN, they're the ones they're an amazing office here. They will take the phone calls, they schedule everything, they're all part of that. And so I just show up with my schedule, and I'm here to give you your IV infusion.
All right, sounds good. Well, thanks so much for watching, everybody, and
thank you, Mario.
Yeah, absolutely, my pleasure. Like I said, till the next episode, and I'll have to maybe, like I said, I'm trying to get the thing going where we go eat where people recommend. So
Oh, that'd be so cool.
yes, I know.
We have to go to Paper Dosa.
Okay, I'm so down. So we'll work on
It's
that.
like a dinner thing though, because they're only open I think like at 4:00 in the afternoon.
Okay,
So
that's perfect. Even if we get the food and we take it home and we eat it at home or something. So
we have to bring George because George is always
absolutely. I would love to have George on the channel. George is like a ball of energy. So
yes,
and it's always rolling forward. Like that dude's. You guys got to meet George. So cool. Well, thank you, Tanya.
Thank you.
All right, see you guys later.